Well, good morning, everyone. We are here with an update regarding the icing that we're seeing out there because we are currently seeing what is classified as an ice storm. Ice storm warnings have been issued for Jefferson County and most of St. Lawrence County out there so far. We're going to get you started with a few pictures. These are from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. You can see that the trees in northern Jefferson County are already weighted down. I've heard reports of some trees already falling, some tree limbs being snapped off, and trees falling on power lines and power lines being down. So northern Jefferson County, north of Watertown towards the St. Lawrence River, that's where we're seeing the most significant icing right now. And these pictures are really showing that. I've had reports of a quarter of an inch of ice already. As we look at some more of these pictures, you can just kind of see how much ice is already encasing some of these trees, some of the shrubs that are around there, on the power lines as well, like that picture there. So we are seeing that significant icing taking place out there in portions of Jefferson County and St. Lawrence County. That picture from Antwerp, I believe that one is from around the Governor area, maybe around Antwerp as well. So around Alexandria Bay, Clayton to Theresa over towards Governor, Hammond, and Rossi, that's where we're seeing the most significant icing. Getting on over to our weather maps here, we can see what we're talking about with that ice storm warning in the purple shaded area. So all of Jefferson County and most of St. Lawrence County. Also to note with this too, the Messina area picked up around 4 to 8 inches of snow last night. So some locations do have a coating of snow under the freezing rain that we're seeing. As we go throughout this, I'm going to go through the forecast for you, because we are expecting half an inch upwards of maybe an inch of ice for some locations, primarily north of the city of Watertown. So kind of going through this here, you can see what we're talking about. Looking at the radar, a lot of the rain's starting to die down for a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit of a break in the precipitation out there for us currently. That's some good news. That's going to give us the chance for maybe the solar radiation to melt some of the ice out there before we get more ice once heavier precipitation moves in later this afternoon and overnight. So temperatures out there today, we are in the mid-20s to the upper 20s for most locations. This is very important to note, folks. We are colder than what the computer models were showing. So we're colder at the surface than what computer models are showing. That's why we're seeing more icing taking place, because things are colder out there. 27 degrees for Drum, 29 Watertown, 25 for Ogdensburg, 23 Potsdam. We have seen a little bit of ice accretion here in downtown Watertown. If you're walking around out there, you'll see that light glaze of ice. And looking out here throughout Watertown, you can see not much of a concern here right now. And we're not expecting much of a concern for the city of Watertown. The worst of it will be to our north of the city of Watertown, but looking along the St. Lawrence River, you can see what we're talking about. There we go. The camera is loaded there. Looking out in the distance, closer to the Thousand Islands Bridge there, you can see the trees weighted down. So there's quite a bit of ice on the trees up along the St. Lawrence River, because that's where we've been seeing the most freezing rain and ice accretion last night and this morning, and that's continuing at times. Also important to note, notice how windy it is along the St. Lawrence River. So winds aren't going to help anything with the trees being weighted down from the ice that's out there. That's going to help cause some tree branches to snap, especially if the winds continue into the evening hours and overnight tonight when we see more freezing rain moving through. So once again, look at the temperatures out there. Like I said, our actual air temperature is slightly colder than what the computer models are showing. So it's saying that it should be 30 degrees for Watertown, 30 degrees for Fort Drum, and 31 degrees for Barnes Corners at this time. I'll take you back over to our current temperatures. This is what we're actually at. 29 degrees Watertown, 27 degrees Barnes Corners, 27 degrees for Fort Drum. That is a significant difference when we're talking about freezing rain. That's why we're expecting a little bit more freezing rain than originally thinking, and more widespread than what we were originally thinking. So we'll go ahead and go back through Futurecast, because at least as far as the precipitation aspect of it, I think it's doing an okay job. A little overdone right now, but still showing very small amounts of freezing rain and rain as of right now out there around the noon hour. Once we get into this afternoon and this evening, we get that short break. More freezing rain, heavy in nature. This evening, this model is trying to say that we warm up starting around 6 o'clock this evening. I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be a slower warm up overnight tonight than what computer models are showing. So this 33 degrees for Watertown, probably going to be 30 or 31 around 6 o'clock. But if we do warm up faster tonight, that is good news, because that means we see less icing. But freezing rain continuing northern Jefferson County into St. Lawrence County as we get towards the overnight hours tonight, towards tomorrow morning as well. So midnight, we're still seeing freezing rain. St. Lawrence County around Messina and Ogdensburg, you will start seeing freezing rain late tonight towards early tomorrow morning as more moisture moves on in. I think by 7 o'clock in the morning, most of Jefferson County has warmed up to just above freezing. Lewis County, you're not expecting much of anything. You're above freezing by tomorrow morning as well. Northern St. Lawrence County, around Ogdensburg, Lisbon, Madrid, Waddington, Messina, you're still going to be a little bit slower to warm up. So you are expecting some freezing rain accumulation or accretion, as we like to say in the meteorology community. So that continues throughout the morning hours, but I think by the time the afternoon gets here on Sunday, all freezing rain is north of us. It's in Canada at this time. So we are starting to see melting taking place. So we're starting to melt the ice off the trees, off the power lines, things like that. So that is some good news for us. And some heavy rain at times on Sunday as well. By the time we get towards Sunday afternoon and evening, we'll start watching the chance for maybe a few thunderstorms trying to move through. So it is entirely possible that on Sunday we see a few thunderstorms. As we go towards Monday too, we have the chance for a few strong to severe storms as temperatures warm up into the 60s. So quite the difference in temperatures that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of days. How much ice are we expecting for this weekend? This does include what has already fell. So A-Bay has already seen around 1/4 inch of ice. So in that white shaded area, that includes Clayton, Cape Vincent, Lafargeville, DePaulville, Chameau, over towards Theresa, Antwerp, Oxbow, Alexandria Bay, Hammond, Rossi, even portions of northern Gouverneur, over towards Rensler Falls as well in St. Lawrence County. We're expecting anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch of ice. That's a significant icing taking place. In the purple shaded area, the darker purple there, we're talking about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. That includes Watertown, Henderson, Sackett's, Brownville, Dexter, Evans Mills, Fort Drum, over towards Natural Bridge, Harrisville, Colton, Canton, Potsdam, and Ogdensburg. In the light pink area, we're talking about 1/4 inch or less. So that would be Ellisburg, Belleville, Adams, Rodman, Barnes Corners, Mansville, Worth, Lorraine, Lowville, Constableville, over towards Croghan, Star Lake, Wanakina, Messina, Waddington, Fraser Falls, even over towards Malone. Another thing is that we are going to see significant icing out towards the Adirondacks as well. This map does not show that, but they are expecting maybe upwards of 1 inch of ice in the Adirondacks as well. So they're expecting significant icing out that way. But once again, we are expecting that significant icing in northern Jefferson County over to portions of far western St. Lawrence County. Currently, we have Chad Charette in Alexandria Bay. He's out there reporting, collecting stories for you. We were hoping to have him be a part of this live update for us, but unfortunately that didn't pan out because he is actively out there trying to collect stories to report to you tonight on our 6 p.m. broadcast on our website. But I want to show you, before we end this live broadcast and go to some questions and things, I want to go back to the pictures of what we're currently seeing with the icing taking place. We'll go ahead and start this out with the picture that we have here showing the ice on the trees. You can see a bird there. So some significant icing already starting to take place in portions of northern Jefferson County over to far western St. Lawrence County. Looking at another picture there, look at the ice coming off the power lines. This was from earlier this morning, so more ice has taken place and accumulated since then as we've had some more rain. Look at the photos from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, though, with the trees leaning, being weighed down from the ice, with that birch tree leaning over the sheriff car there, and you can see off in the distance the trees continuing to lean. So I do think that as we get towards this evening and overnight, as more moisture moves on in and freezing rain continues, we're going to see continued problems with trees snapping and power lines with lights flickering, and even the potential for some power outages. Now, folks, I will go ahead and say this will not be the worst of worst ice storms that we have ever seen here in the North Country. This will not be 98 all over again. Will this potentially be significant? Yes. Will we likely see more power outages than what we've seen already? Yes. But National Grid crews are out doing a phenomenal job keeping up with it. At one point, there was 1,200 people around Alexandria Bay that was without power. That has since been restored. So crews are doing a good job on keeping up with this, and the fact that we're getting a little bit of a break in the precipitation is helping with that. So just stay updated on the forecast. I'll be back in later this afternoon with an update on the forecast to see how things are panning out before heavier rainfall moves in this evening and overnight. But for now, that's our update for this late morning to around noon. Of course, I'll keep you updated once again later today with the latest forecast and how things are shaping up.